What's up, everybody? My name is Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic, and I'm hanging out with you. We just finished up watching Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. What did you guys think of it? As we're getting started here, I want to close my door so I don't wake the family up. Did we enjoy My Possessed Pet? Was it good? What'd you think? My first thing was, man, I gotta lose some weight. The camera they were using and the angles they were shooting at me made me look a little bit heavier than I actually am, but boy, that's no excuse. How's everybody doing? It's nice to see you there. My name's Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic, and we just finished watching Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pets. Wanted to see what everybody thought about it if you watched it. If not, it's on Discovery Plus, and it will be on again in, I think, an hour, or it might be on in 2 hours, it looks like. So it was really fun to shoot that. I'm going to see if I have somebody coming on here in a little bit that might want to come and hang out with us. We'll see. Um, I'm great, thanks. If you have questions about the show, please ask. I had a lot of people hitting me up in my DMs on Instagram and here, telling me about how scary it was, which is really nice because it is a very scary case. Oh, Bolivia, what's up? How are you? Susan Miller, one of my SGCs, says, "So glad I caught it live. It was so good. Thank you." Oh, I'm not famous, but, um, maybe someday. Just teach people about all these things that even though they're dark, we can manage them. Austin, how are you? Hi, dear. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you. Crazy doggo mom. So it's a little bit late, right? I decided to come on late at night. Alabama, what's up? How are you? Jeremy from the SGC, how are you? Crazy Doggo Moms in Pittsburgh, nice to see you there. East Tennessee, beautiful area. Hi, Florida, how are you? I hope you're doing okay down there. We're seeing all on the news up here in Jersey that it's a big cleanup happening down there, so God bless and good luck to you. Hey there. So we're talking about Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pets. So this morning, I'm well, maybe not obviously. I'm very good friends with a lot of people in the paranormal industry. Peers, authors, other television personalities, and folks like that. And somebody got on and they were like, "Boy, I don't like this show at all." 8 a.m. this morning. That's how I started my day. And they were like, "I can't believe that they'd be so irresponsible to say a pet was possessed." And I said, "Hey, dude, that's my episode, the first one airing, and I never said that the horse was possessed. They took some liberties and chopped and edited some of the things that I was talking about to make it sound that way. However, I clearly know that you didn't watch the whole thing because I was in it and you know me, and I would never say that." So, oh, Chicken Mama, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate you. So, can a pet be possessed? What do you guys think? Let me see some of your answers down here. So I see somebody says my cat Rigby pees on everything. Thoughts? I don't know. I'm not a pet like whisperer or anything. I specifically on this case because the horses were being bothered by something on the property, but so were the people, and I was really intrigued to find out what was happening because it's very close to where I live. So so let's think about what possession is. Okay, this is gonna get a little bit dark and scary. So if you're not into that, you don't have to hang out with us. But if you like to hear about dark and scary, this is your jam. Um, so for something to be possessed, it has to have a soul. Well, first one would have to believe in the power of possession, right? And that's a very Christian sort of thought that something dark could take over your body, take your soul, and use you and create havoc in your spiritual ecosystem in your body and perhaps make you do things that you wouldn't normally do. That's not something I personally subscribe to all the way. I have friends that have witnessed possessions, so they say, and exorcisms. I have not. However, on this case, there was another young lady that lived on this farm and was one of the caretakers, and she came as close to demonic oppression as I could possibly understand it to be. Um, No, you can't you can't exercise a cat. You can bring it out for a walk. So we don't want to treat the symptom, we want to treat the problem, right? So the horses were being bothered, the people that were boarding the horses there were being bothered. So we know that something is there, bothering the horses. And by the way, this is not a bunch of people who believe in the paranormal. They didn't just like be like, call a ghost hunter. No, they had many years of experiences of things happening there, before they decided like, hey, we actually have a connection to somebody who knows some things about the paranormal. Maybe we should just have them come up here and take a look, and maybe it'll help alleviate some of the issues. And that's what we did. But that's not something they spoke about on the show, although I did go into detail there. I did a 4-hour interview for them that they chopped down to about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 minutes for the TV show, which is totally fine. So we just kind of have to take into effect if we believe in a possession or not, right? For a human. And then for animals. So can an animal be possessed? Can a darker spirit possess an animal? I don't think so. What, to me, I always have to ask, to what end? The things that I have come across on the other side that are dark don't particularly have an interest in taking us over as much as they do annoying us and causing us, to be upset with each other so that they can gain their own energy through some means. I'm not sure how it works. And I'd be lying to you if I said that. I do understand. But what I can tell you is that they cause annoyance. They cause problems in our relationships. They cause physical issues with us. They want to bring us down. And that's sort of what was happening here on this farm. And they really had an issue. But when non-believers, skeptics of the paranormal, finally are being, brought into this world because it's undeniable the things that keep happening, that's where it got interesting for me. How long can an attachment stay with you after an investigation? So that's from Urban Ghost Hunters. I'm not sure. So again, that's a strange thing. I've only ever encountered one person ever in my life that has an attachment, and that was very recently at the Shanley Hotel last week. Um, and the person, if anybody wants to look this up, they can check out Purdy Paranormal, Purdy Paranormal. The young man's name is Zach. He is a Afghan war vet. He's in the army. Um, and during the investigation, he was being attacked by something. He got attacked 6 times in about 25 minutes. He was scratched. I will be releasing a YouTube video on that. But you can see some of that evidence already on my channel and on his. You can go check that out. And there's something that we didn't film that he told me in private that leads me to believe that he actually was, cursed, and that something was attached to him. So if you believe that you have an attachment, there are certain people out there who practice Reiki, maybe some good witches, something to that, or your local clergy. Ask them to help you cleanse and get rid of whatever that negative thing might be. But of all the things I've ever gone and done, I've never gained an attachment. And that's because I don't give them any authority or power over me. I am my own person, and I'm very strong and strong-willed. So I don't really subscribe to it just because I don't let it happen. I'm good tonight, Tiff. How are you? Some people say yes. Example story of Lechuza, who was a witch who turned into an owl. You want to hear a funny, scary story? So many of you know I'm in law enforcement, and I was driving down the road with this young man, and I kind of stepped out of character. We were in a police car together, and he was asking me a lot about ghosts because he knows what I do. And we were just having a chat about ghosts, and it's broad daylight. It's 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and we're driving down a very isolated type of road. And his eyes got as big as saucers, and I'm like looking at him as I'm like looking over. I'm like, why is this kid's eyes so big? And he looks up and he points up in the air, and in the tree, there's got to be an owl that's like 4 feet big. It was huge white owl just up in the trees, and I was like so caught off guard. We drove probably another 50 yards. I made sure it was safe. I stopped the car, and I turned around, and it was gone. And this kid's mind was blown because we were just talking about so much paranormal stuff, and then we both witnessed this giant white owl. And he was like, "What was that?" And I actually know the story about the big white owl. So I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, sometimes it's associated with witches, and sometimes it's associated with aliens. So, funny enough, that happened probably about 2.5 miles from the farm where the horses are. So, very connected, I think. So that's really interesting. So, um, what are some other questions you might have about Eli Roth? What's up? How are you, JT? Nice to see you there. The young lady, Liv, who was on the episode, did a great job. That was her first interview style documentary that she did. She's also in some indie movies. She's a fantastic young lady, and it was really nice. Nice to see you there. Hi, Kim White. Funny name, funny thing. My last name used to be White before I was adopted many years ago. Oh, there's a little blondie. Are you able to come live, Liv? Did a great job. Let me see if I can invite you to come live. I don't know if I can. I won't let. Well, maybe that's it. We'll see. I think I sent you an invite to go live. We'll see if it works if you want to. I worked with his brother. Good people. Very nice. Are the horses safe and sound? Yes. They've since relocated. Every once in a while, the area gets a little bit um, kicked up with energy, and we just go back over there and calm things down. Say, hey, please, nobody's here to make any trouble. Leave everybody alone. We do it that way. So, if you're watching Eli Roth Presents, this young lady right here is Liv. She did a fantastic job. And how do you think they did with the episode there, Liv?
I loved it. I think it was super interesting. I think they
Yeah,
had a good reenactment of Stosh, like pretty much like him.
yeah, that was pretty good, right? Um, how did you like how they got your mom? Even though she wasn't on the interview, they got a pretty good actress for her.
Yeah, they really did. Me and her were laughing so hard. Like, how do they do this?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Um, so I wasn't in the room when you did your interview. So who what story was like with the witch? Is that something that they were giving to you, or is that something that you had experienced that maybe we didn't talk about?
That was like the animal sacrifice part with like the
Oh yeah.
witch. Like some ladies up at the farm would like see this like witch wearing all white. It was like really strange.
Okay. So for the folks who hopefully just watched the show with us, um, there were some, we know this for a fact that up on that property that there were some animal sacrifices made, and there was some cult-like activity that happened probably sometime between the 50 and the 70s in town. And the older police officers had talked to us about that a little bit. They don't talk about it much because it's not something they want to bring up, but we know that it happened. And I think that has something to do with what we're having so much trouble with there. If you didn't get to watch it, don't worry about it. It's on Discovery Plus, and it will also be on again in 2 hours. And Liv, I don't know if you know this, since that was the first episode that they played from the series, it will be on many times between now and Halloween. It's always what happens.
Really?
The first episode always gets played the most. So we'll be able. People are going to be texting you all the time, being like, "You're on TV."
That's so exciting. I got so many texts. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how many people were actually going to see this.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic. I'm hanging out with Liv. Liv was just on Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pets. Um, she did a fantastic job. We were talking about the case a little bit. And I have other good news is that uh, I got contacted by a very good friend of mine this morning, Dave Schrader, who is from Holzer Files. And he said, Scott, I heard you're going to be on this TV show with Eli Roth. I'd love to have you come back on the show and talk about the actual case. So I'll be going back on there and talking about it a little bit more. So this case could turn into something else down the road.
Down the road.
Might be able to
Does
have
he
something else.
podcast?
Yes, Dave Schrader has a podcast called The Paranormal 60. Um,
I
if you've
think
never you're a little young. You may not know Dave, but he's on TV right now. He's on a Discovery Plus show called Ghosts of Devil's Perch.
that's so cool.
Fantastic radio host and paranormal investigator.
That's so cool. I got DM by someone asking to do a podcast, but I have to do more research about it.
Yeah, make sure you know who you're talking to before you do it.
Mhm. Definitely.
So, yeah, for anybody down in Florida, stay safe. We hope that you're doing okay and
And
recovering.
recovering.
We appreciate that you're hanging out with us, probably with the little internet that you do have. So, Liv, was there anything that you told in your story that they didn't tell that you would have wanted to have more people know about?
Um, Honestly, the extent of my nightmares were so traumatizing and so awful. Like, I would have dreams that I was just like, that my old past dog, I'd see him, and then he'd like try to cross me over to the dead, and I would literally just like die in my dreams, and I would like not wake up. And I'd be like screaming when I woke up, like begging to like wake up. Like, it was like the most horrifying thing I've ever experienced.
You know, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
there's even more about this case that I don't know.
Yeah, it was really, really scary. I was like afraid to go to sleep for a while.
Wow, that's something. So I do remember your mom talking to me and asking me what I thought the chances were that something would have been coming home with you. And I think the chances were pretty good because you were there. Something people need to understand if they don't own a horse, which I
Which
don't, and I didn't know anything about horse care until I met you folks and we started getting in on this case, is that taking care of a horse is like taking care of a couple children. Even if you only have one horse, you got to be there constantly grooming it, washing it, feeding it, taking it out for exercise, and making sure that the horse is well taken care of and maintained. It's not like a dog that you can just like let walk around the house. You have to be there tending to it. So you being there all of the time and in that entity's purview, always looking at you, always watching you, and definitely making you a target, was a big part of this. It's not too often that entities get that opportunity if you don't live near them or in proximity. So it saw you and it said, "This is my target here," and definitely, in my opinion, was going back and forth with you.
Yeah, these horses have like the mental capacity of like a toddler. So like think about like leaving a toddler like unsupervised. Like they just get into things. And you'd be at the up at the barn by yourself and you just feel like you're being like watched. And it's like the weirdest feeling, like knowing that there's something there with you, but like not being able to like see it.
Thank you for the crane. Um, so something that and more stuff that they didn't talk about, right, was when I brought the paranormal team up there and we had the equipment out. And this is the very REM pod. You can tell it's been through a lot that got zapped. So, folks, it doesn't work now because the battery died. But um, this right here, something at the barn grabbed the antenna of this so hard that it fried the circuit inside. I had to bring it to a friend of mine to have it repaired, and he was like, "Well, what happened to it?" And I said, "Something invisible we could not see grabbed it and made it light up all the way and max out for like a minute and a half, and it just died. We had changed the batteries a couple times, and nothing seemed to work. So it wasn't until I had a buddy of mine who's an electrical engineer take it apart and fix it that it was working again. And now this is sort of my it sits at home on the desk because it's retired. It's had its day. But what was cool, Liv, when we were doing the interview, like that I was happy they showed that at the end of the episode when we were sitting on the log, and the new REM pod was going off while we were sitting there. So why don't you tell these folks what happened while we were sitting there and that was happening? They definitely would like to hear that, I think.
So we were sitting there, like we weren't even like testing out the equipment or anything, and they were just going crazy. Like the interviewer person couldn't really even get a word in without your machine going off. And like we felt that I like kept looking over my shoulder, and then you go and say you're like it's right there, and I'm like that there's like I kept looking over there. I had no idea, and your machine was just going off like so crazy that you're like break my machine like at that point, and it did.
Yes, and that was it. So, and then what did I tell you? I said I saw people standing out in that field behind us in the woods. And what did you just tell me about a week ago?
It's a registered cemetery.
Now, there's no marked headstones there or anything, right? But we were sitting there filming that, and it was a place that we really hadn't explored yet. We just needed a good, comfortable place to film. And I said, there's people standing over here in the woods watching us. And you were like, "Don't say that. I go camping over there." And I was like, "Well, I'm telling you that they're standing there watching us do this." And then a week ago or so, you messaged me and you're like, "Scott, there's a registered cemetery right over there, but there's no headstones." So, hey, Shirley Thompson, how are you? So, um, that's another part of evidentiary mediumship. I said something and then you kind of accidentally, I guess, backed it up.
Unfortunately.
So, for all the folks who watch these television shows, it's a big deal because it's Eli Roth, in particular, because he's a huge horror movie director and stuff. He's known around the world for his great cinematography. Um, so for us to be attached to a little project that he did for TV is really something. But just know that we told a story and they took bits and pieces of it and crafted something out of it. So um, I don't believe that animals can be possessed, but I do believe that they can be bothered or perturbed or um, agitated by something that we can't necessarily always see. Would you say that that was true, Liv?
Um, I would, I don't know, I'm not very educated on like the paranormal. I think they definitely affect the animals like negatively.
Right. Let's see. I see somebody subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read. Bells are ringing. Oh, bells are ringing 2022. Nice. Thank you for your subscription. I appreciate you.
Whenever I have, like a paranormal question, like you're the first person I go to. Like, Scott, what rocks do I carry with me? Like, how do I protect myself? Like, I have no idea. Like, I just
Yeah.
confide in you, you know?
Yep. Well, that's perfect. So, I was also telling I don't know if you heard me give you a little introduction before I realized you were here, is that you're in indie films as well. You're in a movie called No Shark, and anything else that I should know about or talk about?
I'm shooting this like skeleton movie soon where like these little
Ooh,
skeletons come in and attack me. It's gonna be really interesting, but
very, very cool. I'm interested to see that as well. Katrina says, "What TV show?" It's called Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet, Season 1, Episode 1. That's the star. I'm a co-star. We had a really good time shooting it, and it's about a real paranormal case that we had to attend to with some horses. Did they approach you to do the show? Yeah, how did you even get on this? Because you guys asked me, so.
um I gotta run by my mom for that. She's like my momager.
Okay, so your mom was looking for some projects for you to do, right?
And then the project like resonated and she's like, "Oh my God, like this is literally like a story like made for you." Because like I've always like my entire life growing up have just been like affected so like much with the paranormal. So I'm like, this is perfect.
So that's awesome. So that's how we got on that. So I've been on other TV shows. For anybody who doesn't know, A Haunting. That one I didn't go looking for. Somebody invited me to be on the show as their co-host because I did some mediumship stuff for them with haunted dolls. And prior to that, I was on Paranormal 911, where something that happened to me in the line of duty was a very paranormally active call, and we got to put that on TV, which was awesome. How, Tom, how did you put me on? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm sorry, but that's how it works. So if you're interested in being in one of those TV shows, just look up cast the word casting and paranormal shows, and there's all kinds of castings. You just got to look pretty frequently, and you'll come across something that you probably like. So what else? What else was interesting about our case? There's a lot. The property we know was inhabited by a very wealthy family back in the early 1900s, and the son burned their house down. And it was more than a house; it was like an estate, like a wealthy person mansion estate. And some of the ruins of that are still on the property, which is really interesting. Um, Hopefully, we'll be able to go and check that out someday. Like I said, this I think that this story will have more legs as we talk about it, and I think that there will be other investigators and other production companies that may approach us that might want to talk about this a little bit more because it is a very deeply rooted and very interesting case.
Definitely. I would love to like go live and like have like a ghost hunt up at the ruins.
I,
I don't think we've been up there and like investigated it,
nope,
right? Like the ruins.
nope, not at
Oh,
all. It's a little bit remote,
That's
so
cool.
we'd have to check it out. Some Lesko says red is definitely your color. I had intentionally worn that color. I don't like what they did with the lighting for me. They lit me all weird and it looked like I had no neck, but I promise you I do. I don't think they did a good job.
Yeah, I looked a little. My face looked bigger.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
oh.
think the camera lens that they were using was a little bit wide for what we were doing. But whatever. It was well shot anyway. The cameraman was very nice.
No, I loved him. Like the whole team was just the sweetest. Like I brought my grandfather on set with me, and they like sent him home with like so many cookies. I was like, oh,
Aw, that's what you got to do. You give the old people the cookies. Enjoy. Somebody says you need your help. What do you need help with? Oh, thanks, Jen.
thank you.
So people are used to me coming on here and just doing readings, but not tonight. Tonight we're just coming on to do some live and talking about this show, which was I mean it was so interesting. And you know, it was the worst part of the whole thing. I know you're not into the paranormal like I am. Oh, thanks for the fireworks. There seemed to be a lot of negative backlash. I don't know if you saw any of that. People were like, "How can you possibly say pets are possessed? That's so irresponsible of you. And how could you call a show that?" And I had to tell everybody first off, number one, when you and I filmed this, it was untitled. It was just called Eli Roth Presents. We knew it was going to revolve around the animals, but we in a million years I would not have thought that they were going to call it possessed pets. Um, and then a lot of paranormal people who have big hearts for pets were like, "How could you do that?" And I'm like, "Stop 1 second." I was like, "If you know anything about people who own horses, is they're fanatical over their horses more than I am probably over my children, or a close second. So nobody's doing anything that's going to hurt any animals. This is simply a byline, some words to get your attention, and it did that. So I hope that everybody watched the show and realized, like, oh, they weren't talking about an actual possessed horse, but there was definitely something dark there.
Yeah, I was really disheartened to like I don't know why, but I got tagged in a lot of the stuff that like was like negative, and I was just so disheartened. I was like, there's no way that people are gonna think that like I don't treat my horse like the right way. Like you saw how fat he was. Like you know he gets
Yeah.
getting his
Oh, yeah.
treats.
Well fed and happy. And that was part of the reason for going there as well, right? Not just for you guys, but to keep the animals safe. And I think when we tell the story a little bit deeper, when we have a bigger platform to tell the story about the things that led up to it and still the things that happened there, people will get a better understanding as to what type of haunting this is. Because we kind of just touched the surface on it, about the witch, but I know you weren't there during my interview and I wasn't there during yours because we were just finishing with the COVID stuff. But I had told them about the um, how we had the other young woman there who had some issues. How people would see the horses kind of shrink down and turn into the size of dogs, and how we would hear footsteps in lofts and people whispering and walking on fence posts, and all the other kinds of wild things that were going on there. Just got here.
Yeah,
What show are we talking about? Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. Myself and this young lady down in the box were on that show this evening.
I remember like the little kid. I think I spoke about it too. He would see like this demon dog, like with like bright red eyes. And like my brother got like a picture of it. It was like a whole thing. Like this demon dog. And that's honestly like my dreams of my dog coming and like attacking me. Like I think that's what it is. Like I think it's embodying it to be my dog. So, I trust my old dog.
Right. And that was one of the first things that I had picked up on when I got there was, um, I saw that outside of the place where those folks lived, um, I was standing outside and I saw a black dog and it bristled its hair up and it showed me its teeth and they were all red with blood. And I was like, oh, you're nasty. I was like, I get that you're trying to protect something here. Um, and that was something that later on you guys were like, oh my God, we see that dog all the time.
Yeah, it's really scary. Very rabid.
Let's see. Hastna says, how do you know the difference between a normal dog and a spirit ones? Because normal doggies are very nice, and spirit dogs, I don't actually physically see spirit dogs. I see them here. Whereas like a physical dog, I see like you. They're out and I pet them, and usually the owners are like, "Oh, can you stop petting my dog? It's been 35 minutes." And I say no, because I want to pet your dog. we have a police dog at work that I just I lure him in and I pet him until he runs away. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody says, I just turned it on. Watch it. It's really good. I hope you like it. They did a really good job with, I was getting messages about how scary it was, which I thought was really nice.
I think the demon dog, like it has like bright glowing red eyes, like you know it's not a real dog.
Yeah,
Like a
exactly.
living.
Not real at all. So let's see what else we got here. Awesome show. Thank you. Just turned it on. Sweet. I hope you enjoy it. It was scary. Um, what else? Does
I
anybody have any
actually
questions? Good.
Oh, sorry. I actually think there's something like connected to like my cross necklace that I wore on set because I haven't had like any nightmares, like strange ones, until I accidentally slept with my cross necklace like next to me in my bed, and I had a nightmare about my dog attacking me again, like the deceased one, like
Oh
2 days.
my
I guess it
gosh.
was 2 days ago, and my mom was saying how she had a dream that Addison attacked her too.
Hold on. I just want to tell you that right now, um, we are coming into the season where you guys actually had first called me, and this is when things pick up. And now they pick this day of all days to air this show, and we're bringing it all to the surface. So there's no doubt in my mind
Yeah.
that that this thing is watching and paying attention to what we're talking about. So it's
Just-
probably not happy that we're doing it.
I know, I could sense it.
So it may not be the cross. It might just be the fact that it's reaching out to be like, hey, jerks. I mean, and to be clear, today I had a really off and bad day as well. My energy was really low. I wasn't feeling good. I had a headache. I actually took a nap before I watched the show because I was so exhausted. Who the heck is somebody what? All right, I think this is for somebody who's watching. This is sounds kind of silly, but did anybody's family member eat like peel potatoes and just eat them? There's a man who keeps stepping up to me and he keeps just eating a raw potato like it's an apple. Does anybody have a family member that did that? Let me know. Kit Caddy says yes. Who that's such a strange thing. I've never seen that before. I don't know much about him. And someone, oh my gosh, a couple people say that's a thing. I never heard that before. People are like, yeah, that happens. Let me see what else I can get from this gentleman. Really? Just eating potatoes like it's an apple. Let me see what else they're doing. So this gentleman is going to be somebody's dad, and you yourself are a cancer survivor. He showed me a pink ribbon, and he says to uh let my I don't know if it's Barbara Jean or I'm supposed to talk about a Barbara and a Jean, but as I'm sitting here, that's something important. So this is somebody who's you're probably a cancer survivor that's watching this because I see the pink ribbon and the name Barbara and Jean are both coming back on me. So if this belongs to you, let me know. It's important. Sorry, Liv. When I sit in this chair and I go live, it's like the spirits are like, "Hey, guess what? He's doing it. Let's go."
That's
So
so
as
cool.
we'll see if anybody claims this person. Male name, two names are coming through, Barbara and Jean. He's talking about his daughter being a cancer survivor, and he's eating like a peeled potato. I don't know if it's raw or cooked, but it's strange to me that it's whole. My mama is Barbara Jean. Is she a cancer survivor, Gypsy and the Tiger? And would your dad have done that? No cancer? Yeah, no, he's showing me a pink ribbon, which is always a cancer survivor. All right, so we'll let him hang out with us, and we'll see what else he has to say. So, Liv, what else would it was nice. I was getting a little. I'm gonna tell everybody I was getting a little jealous because Eli was fangirling over her. And I was like, hey, Eli. I wrote him a message. I was like, listen, pal. I was like, how about you give me a little love here? Um, and he actually reposted two of my stories today. So he was nice and did the right thing. I was getting upset. He's
Oh,
fangirling over, he was fangirling all over you. And I'm like, yo, dude, what about me? And he was like, all right, I'll repost your stuff.
I saw you reposted your live. That was so cool.
What happened?
I saw he like just recently like reposted your live. That was so cool.
Oh, that is nice of him. What a good guy.
I know, he's the sweetest. Like so cool. Like I was like fangirling. Like I saw he like viewed my story and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Eli Roth.
I know. Isn't that so cool? It's nice to have these people. Oh, thanks for the cowboy hat, partner. Liv, if you've never seen me do this, anytime gives me a cowboy hat, I do the same thing. SD Shelton says, I'm a two-time survivor and my dad's nickname was Soud. What is that? What does Soud mean? And, oh, Spud. Oh, maybe it's your dad then. Do the names Barbara or Jean mean anything to you? SD Shelton? Those names are pretty loud, in my brain where these things happened. So, is it possible to get negative thing attached after an ER surgery? No, but I have heard people talk about the anesthesia messing with your head a little bit. So um, I don't know how long you've had it felt like this, but sometimes the anesthesia can mess with that part of your brain that clouds you and makes you feel groggy or nasty for a while. So
And know
definitely check it out. Talk to your doctor about it. I said the same way you did. I didn't even notice it was AP. I'm not sure to talk about it. I apologize.
Oh, also, they had Stosh play Cash, and Cash had like passed away back last October. I thought
Hmm.
that was
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we had your horse out with us, who was also being a diva that day.
cool. He was being so bad that day. It was so funny. He knew.
And I learned a lot about horses from working on this case. I'm not as afraid of them anymore. So anybody who doesn't know, I was a little bit afraid of horses, or apprehensive, I think is the right word. They're so big.
Especially Stosh. He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big horse. But Cash and Tenny, right, was the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good horse.
they were
So
sweet.
Katrina says, I'm a nurse, and yes, anesthesia clouds you for up to a year after surgery. So, yeah, I knew I was right about that. I had heard that before. And it could make you feel like you have something attached to you because your brain's not functioning properly. So, definitely keep that in mind, everybody.
It's kind of scary.
What? Yeah, well, that's just one of those things. Like, it's important to know a little bit about a lot because, um, you know how I know that is because I've listened to people tell me paranormal stories, and then I ask them a lot of questions, and sometimes they'll be like, "Well, I did have surgery, and I was under heavy anesthesia," and I'm like, "Okay," and I researched it, and I heard that that was one of the side effects. So it's just one of those things that you learn through investigation.
Oh, I might have like wisdom teeth. I don't want to.
That's easy peasy. I just
Yeah,
had one taken out a couple months ago. It
yeah.
was fun. It was a good time.
I'm like
Gypsy
I'm
Soul.
gonna be awake.
I stayed awake. They just numbed me up and took it out.
That's good.
Gypsy Soul says, so someone who died a suspicious death, can they be angry and not at rest? I'd say that I don't want to use the word angry. I don't think that's it, but they might be not at rest. They might want to be, um, they might want to have their case adjudicated or somebody be brought to justice for it. Which is something that I'm working on with a cold case in California. I have a lot of stuff going on. So we have the cold case of the missing eight. How old do you live? 18 now? 17, 18?
Yep, 18.
Right? So there's a young woman in California who went missing in 1981. She was your age. She just vanished, her and her car. And this family contacted me, and I did a reading for them. And they were so impressed by the details that they flew me out to California. And we think we have a location for her body. And the local sheriff there was also impressed with the information that I gave, so they are going to provide us with a cadaver dog, and we're going to go search this property. And the property owner gave us permission as well. So in a couple months, I'll be going back out to California to do some more investigating.
That is amazing.
Pretty neat, right?
That is so cool. It's like and it's amazing that you're using your gift for like good, like be amazing. Like you're giving people closure. Like that's the coolest thing.
Isn't that it? Like, and it's one of those funny things. Like, I love doing all the paranormal stuff. It's a lot of fun, but what else can we do with it, right? We can help people.
like deeper than Ghostbusters. It's like you're helping people. That's so cool.
You can't see it, my lights are off, but yes, Ghostbusters. It's my favorite, obviously. Yeah, I hope I can find her as well. It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility, though. Let's see. Joy Valdiva says, "Tell us about animal communications." I don't really talk to animals. I just see them and like interact with them as I would a regular animal. Um, However, sometimes I see them, like and I'll know like how they passed. So one of my favorite stories is a golden retriever that I came across at somebody's house during a reading, and I could see that it had cancer all in its bones. So that was something that I was able to talk to them about, and it helped them have and it helped them have closure that their animal was okay. So Gypsy Soul says a medium on here said she was angry and didn't want to talk to me. So this is your loved one that passed suspiciously. So let me give you a little piece of advice and everybody who's watching. Before you go believing anybody on TikTok, including me, do a little research, read about that person. So, for instance, I would never come on here in a live, especially, and just be like, your loved one is not at peace. They're so angry with you and they're not going to talk. That just sounds like bullshit to me. It sounds like somebody who doesn't have a good answer for you and they can't bullshit their way out of it will tell you. However, I will always use myself as an example. You can go read my reviews. You can see who I am. I've been doing this for a long time. Live here, even though we're buddies. She can vouch for me. I'm a law enforcement officer. I have a lot of credibility, and you know, you have to find those things in somebody that you're going to trust with that sort of information for you. So, like I said, finding this young girl in California is a lot of responsibility. It's not like this family was just like, come on out here. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing it for free. The only thing they did was pay for my plane ticket. I paid for everything else. So um, just keep that in mind. It's a lot of responsibility, and don't just take somebody's word for it, because it just sounds like somebody gave you some BS answer.
I
Yeah,
get psychics like DMing me asking me like, "Oh, like, I have you're cursed. Like, send me money and I'll tell you how to lift it." I'm like, "What?"
yeah,
I'm
definitely
okay.
not. I would tell you if you were cursed. You're
I
not.
know. No, but Scott, like, he could know nothing about you. Like, I brought friends up when we've done like investigations, and he could tell them about like their dead relatives, and it's like legit. Like, you're the most legitimate person I've ever met when it comes to like psychic and medium.
Thanks. Yeah, you said that. You remember those folks that were with us, and the I was talking about the keyboard, and the guy was like, "Oh, I just was." You may not remember this, but I was
Oh,
talking about
yeah. I remember.
the piano, and he was like, "Oh my God, I was just moved." Like he was just restoring like a player piano or something, and it was his grandfather's or something. It was interesting.
It was crazy. I
Um,
think it made him cry. Like, it was
yeah,
crazy.
I know. And he was like, "How could you know that?" I said, "I don't know. They just tell me stuff, man." So somebody asked me how I know this stuff. I am clairvoyant and clairaudient and then clairsentient. So I see things in my head, I hear them, and then I feel the things that they want me to feel.
I remember one time you're like, oh, like the ghost at the bar, and he like stalks you. Like he doesn't just like at the bar, and like he also sees what you're doing throughout the day. And you're like, I'm seeing something with a boat motor, and I was like, I was just working on a boat. Like that like freaked me
Yes,
out so bad.
that's how we decided that we knew that it was watching you because you were not even near the barn and you were working on a boat somewhere and it told me like, yeah, talk about it. So that's really interesting.
And you said something like so embarrassing with like I think it was on toilet paper, and like something like embarrassing happened, and then me and my friend went home, and like Scotty was like written on the toilet paper, like the packaging.
Oh, it's funny. Oh, Nancy says somebody's impersonating you. Yes, I get a lot of that. I'm sorry. I will never DM you to do a reading, I promise. You probably don't remember, but you brought my dad through. That has never happened to me. Oh, I'm so happy. I honestly, I wish I do remember, but I do so many readings for people, I can't keep in track, but I'm happy to hear that. And I'm sure that he's still doing well wherever he is. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us. So, for anybody who's new here, my name is Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic. Tonight, we're doing just a little live here talking about Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. And down here in the box is my co-host Livy, who is the star of the show. She's the one that experienced all of the paranormal activity and asked for my help at the barn. I won't spoil it for you if you have not watched the show yet, but if you have Discovery Plus, you can watch and stream it there. And it'll be on Travel Channel, I'm sure, for the duration of October. So that's at season 1, episode 1 of Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. And Gypsy Soul says, first, you're gorgeous, and second, you're a medium as well. I think we've talked about you being a
Thank
medium.
you. You
I
have.
think
When I
we've
was
talked.
really little, you were like, you have an ability. I was like,
Yep.
I don't know. I'm scared.
Yes. Agreed.
I've been
Um,
running away from it.
well, I did for a long time too, and then eventually it just catches up to you and you do it, and life gets better.
I like to
Sweet
tell
meat.
people, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I like to tell people their future, as like a joke, and then it actually happens, and I'm like, oh, like that's weird. Like you're having twins, like
As a joke.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna have twins, and they're like, no, I'm not. We have twins.
Um, Sarah Dunham says, "Did you say that you're an officer?" Yes. Can't tell you where though. When do I perform readings? Pretty much any other time that I'm on here live, I do readings. And that's from my buddy Sweet Pea, who's one of my subscribers. So just there's a button somewhere that you tap, and it'll tell you when I go live, and then just hop on it. I'm probably doing readings. Um, let's see. Somebody says, "Will this be the first cold case that you'll be working on?" The California one is the first one I've ever officially accepted. Yes, because again, there has to be a level of responsibility taken, and I'm putting a lot on the line by doing it. Because I don't want to give anybody false hope that I'm going to bring their loved one home and not do it. So I'm giving it everything I got. Plus, there's a fantastic private investigation team that I'm working with that has a ton of experience. As a matter of fact, one of the bet, and I'm not just saying this because he's just this guy. His name is Rob. He's one of the best bail bondsmen in the United States. This man tracks people across the United States. If you disappear, he will find you. So he's in on this case. And also the local police department's homicide division has lent an officer out to us. So it's not just me. It's a bunch of very dedicated people that are working on this. I just happen to be a little bit of a part of it that is giving them the direction to go in, and it's a direction that makes sense. It's not just like, bullshit that they can't corroborate. The information is lining up to give them the information, the direction to go. Like a bounty hunter, yes. A bail bondsman, I think is what they prefer to be called.
I think the Travel Channel should like give us our own show where we just like go to like different paranormal places, and then I'm the one who's just like running away from everything, and then you could be like the Zach
You're just
Bagans
scared.
and actually like figure it out.
Well, if I have to be Zach Bagans, then you have to be Aaron, and you have to, because you're scared, and I have to make you go into the scary places alone.
Exactly.
I am working on something now with Travel Channel though, with another big company. So
I'm so
I can't say
excited.
too much about it because it's pretty early on in the phases of things, but we have some serious talks going. So
That's so exciting. Don't jinx it. Don't talk about it.
I'm not. So
I won't.
Andy says, "How is the animal now?" So the cat Cash was well after we moved barns, right? And unfortunately, I think Cash did pass away though, but from like natural causes, everything was okay, right? Yes or no? I don't know.
It was a field accident, but it had nothing to do with. It was like
Nothing
a
to do with
freak
that
thing.
animal.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, but we're we have a new horse. The new horse at the end of the episode. What was that horse's name again? Stash.
Ah,
And Stash was a big baby that day, big diva. Didn't want to play. Didn't want to let you ride him.
he's the best. He's like a big puppy. Like he's the biggest personality on him.
I swear that the horse knew that we were filming and was like, I don't want to cooperate. I don't like
He's
what you're doing.
never done that. Like he's just always so perfect, and then he didn't want to stand still, and I was like, "You're doing this to me on purpose."
It's exactly what was going on.
You know.
Let's see. Somebody said, it's Beanal says, come to Rolling Hills Asylum in Western New York. I've been there. I had my first experience with an entity named George there. I have a really cool EVP. They were like, "Oh, George lives in this room," and I was being kind of a butthead because nothing was happening that night, and I was like, "George, George," just yelling into the hallways of this giant asylum, and the EVP, when we listened to it back, it just goes, "Scott," just like that. It
Oh
like
my
said
God.
my name so clear. Everybody like almost s their pants. We almost fell over. It was so scary.
I remember when the ghost in my barn cursed you off through that radio channel app.
What
Remember in the
happened?
hay room? Remember in the hay room when like the ghost cursed you off and
Oh,
like the
well, that's a huge thing that we never even got to talk about. With
oh
were you in the room with your brother and the other young lady when all the lights went out on us?
no.
Oh my God, that was the most. I have to write a note. I want to tell that on the podcast next week. That was the most scary shit that has ever happened to me ever, ever, ever on a paranormal investigation.
Really? I wasn't
Your
even there.
your brother, he's white, but boy did he turn really white like a ghost. Ooh, thanks for the hamburger. Um, he threw himself against the wall. That's how scary it was, and I
Oh my
did not
God.
blame him.
And he is tough. Like
Yeah, he was
scary.
afraid. I see people are saying that it is freezing a lot. I apologize. I have my full Wi-Fi on, and I'm the only one on, so I know my connection is good. If you're having trouble,
Okay.
just go out and come back in. It's not you either. I'm hosting
Okay.
it.
Okay, good.
Um, so let's see what we got here. I like answering everybody's questions. Somebody says, "What show is this on Travel Channel?" Again, Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. We were on that this evening. I know that you mean this in a nice way. Bells are ringing. You say, I prefer you in the dark somehow. Um, I think you mean that in a nice way, but comes off kind of mean. I like you, Scott. Just put a bag on your head.
My friend, we don't see you.
Yeah, just here. You want me to help you? Is that better?
Okay, I'll turn my
Um,
lights out too. It'll be a black live.
oh my
Completely
gosh,
dark.
it'll be so scary. Buffalo Central Terminal is another one. I was just talking about Buffalo to somebody today. The Millennium Buffalo Hotel I stayed in a couple years ago, haunted. Oh, Gracie says she found it. Excellent. I'm glad. Watch it and let us know. Oh, you mean the background you like is better in the dark. So you know it's funny, folks, and Liv, you may not know this because you don't do TikTok live. The people who have their lighting like this actually don't get a lot of viewers. I put it on like this to keep it spooky, but I get much more viewers when everything's lit up nice and bright and they can see everything. Isn't that crazy?
But it like sets the ambiance.
That's what
The
I
whole
think, but
vibe.
people don't like it. Trust, if I turn the lights on in here, there would be more people in here watching, but I wanted to keep it kind of like just us chickens. Just the little, I didn't want to have 800 people in here commenting. It gets nuts. That is kind of weird. It is, I know, but it's the truth. It's how it goes. I pay attention to all this stuff because I want to make the best possible content, and I have to do what you all like, not what I like.
Have you been up to like the pool and the ruins and stuff yet?
I have. So on the property that we were investigating where the horses live, there's a estate, a home that got burned down by one of the previous tenants' sons. And on the property, there are ruins of like what I would just call like a Greek style swimming pool. There's columns and probably old broken statues and stuff, and all around there seems very haunted, if you were to ask me.
Are you scared?
Let's see. I will answer this and I'll let Liv answer it too. Andy says the most haunted place you've ever been. What's the most haunted place you've ever been,
The barn.
Liv? The barn is the most haunted place you've
Hands
ever
down.
been. That place is pretty haunted. Um, the most haunted place I've ever been. The second probably is the barn, but the first is Penhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania, with the Shanley Hotel close behind it as well. So the barn, Penhurst, and Shanley Hotel are the three most haunted places I've ever been. There, you will go there and run equipment, and things will just happen. Like it's
Um,
just the way it is.
I went to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. That was really scary too. We went in like that room. They filmed The Shining there,
Yes,
and we went
and
in
that
that
is a
room,
very creepy.
and it was like you had like chills all over your body. It was like the scary. It was so scary.
So yeah, you've been to one of the most haunted hotels in America, so that's awesome.
But the barn creeps me out more.
Well, you go there a lot. You've seen the things that happen there. So
Yeah.
somebody says red rum. Hello, Tony. Um, Hasna says, do you know or see who helps you? So I have spirit guides. I talk to them all the time. So yes, I do see the people who are helping me. My keyboard just my computer just turned on for no reason.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay. It's almost midnight. That's creepy. The stairs at the Stanley were creepy. Where's the barn? Undisclosed location. Unfortunately, we can't tell you because we don't need a bunch of people going there. It is private property, I'll tell you that. So even if you knew where it was, you would get in trouble for going. You'd have to board a horse there and then have permission to be there. So unfortunately, I can't tell you.
I
But
hate to
someday,
break it.
hmm
I'm scarier than the ghost for anyone who wants to trespass. So
agreed. And the police watch it pretty closely because they had a rash of people letting horses out, unfortunately.
I was in the
Um,
police academy too, so I'm trained.
trained. Do you still use the barn on a regular basis? No. You've moved your horse now to a different barn, not far,
Mhm.
but to safety.
Far
And I
enough.
don't far enough, and I don't go there. I won't go there unless somebody calls me, because whatever's there, I don't need it interfering with my life. It's pretty nasty. Um, Zora the Alchemist, who's one of my longtime subscribers, says Travel Channel's re-airing it at 2 a.m. So if you're going to be up at 2 a.m., you might as well just rewatch it. It's in 2 hours. Sharon says, your aura is very bright tonight. Lots of positive energy. Thank you so much. You too, Liv.
Thank you. Is it
So
still
have your
green?
huh?
Is it still
Yeah, it's
green?
green. Yeah,
Okay.
you have green and gold flecks in there, which is nice.
Aw.
It's Binal says, thoughts on Hat Man that people see during sleep paralysis. It's a real phenomenon. People all over the world see it. And do you know how so many people figured out the Hat Man was a real thing and widely known? No, I'll tell you. So there's a radio TV show, a radio show called AM Coast to Coast. It's about paranormal, aliens, Bigfoot, cryptids, ghosts. And one night, this man calls in from Canada, and he starts talking about his experience about seeing this man in a hat and having sleep paralysis, but it's a dark shadow. And he tells his whole story about it. I think within about 24 hours, they have hundreds of people calling the radio station, and they all are telling the same story. So they're all like, all of these people that don't know each other have similar stories about the Hat Man. So that's before the internet, before big shows of paranormal on TV. That's how they figured it out. So that's how the Hat Man became something that everybody knows. The question is it like Slender Man? Was it like fake and this guy made it up and then everybody was like, yes? Or is it real? I don't know. I've personally had an encounter with the Hat Man uh, while traveling. It was pretty terrifying, so I believe in it. Somebody says, can they knock down the barn? Would that work? Nope, that wouldn't work at all. It's tied to the land. So if they knock down the barn and build houses there for some reason, those houses would be incredibly haunted and nobody would want to live there.
It'd be way worse if, like, whenever there's construction on that side of the property, like, things act up so bad. Like, I hate when they do stuff to it because it pisses all the ghosts off. Excuse my French.
That's okay. You're allowed to swear here. Safe space.
Okay.
Uh, have I had any experiences with aliens? No, but I want to very badly. And that might sound crazy, but I really want to have an experience with aliens. I want to get abducted or something, but I think I'm too fat. I won't fit in the spaceship. They're
I
usually
think
very tiny and
aliens
green.
are.
Liv, you're in trouble. You're tiny. They'll take you in a heartbeat, not me.
I think I am one.
Oh, maybe.
I
Maybe
look a little
that
bit like
explains that would explain a lot.
I
Oh,
used to get called
somebody
like
else.
an alien growing up. because I was like super
Oh,
skinny and I had really big eyes.
well, now that's what everybody wants, right?
Yeah.
Bells are ringing, says that she is waiting on the show. She has 1 hour. So it's airing um, at 10 p.m. across the United States, it seems like. Ooh, this is creepy. Susan says, my nieces and I saw a black shadow man walking down the street at 1 a.m. after Christmas Mass. What do you think that was?
Santa.
You think it was that old guy with the shovel and the salt from Home Alone?
I think it was Santa.
I, I think I dated myself. Oh, he had a hat, she says. Um, Interesting. I don't know what that could have been. Did anything bad happen after that? Felicia says, are there any spirits trying to talk to you right now? I'm sure there are, but I told him to leave me alone. Just that guy with the potato came through. He was like, talk about me. I need to say hello to everybody. But I told him to leave me alone. That was something I talked about today on my social media a little bit, was that um I don't always see and hear the spirits. I have to give them permission to like kind of talk to me because that would be overwhelming. He
Draining all your
was,
energy.
yeah, exactly. It'd be exhausting. McHarmony says, for me, I want to see a ghost, a UFO, and a Bigfoot. Ah, the trifecta. I just want to see the Loch Ness Monster, really. But I'd have to go to Scotland, I suppose. It was scary when you said it was a portal there. Can you shut it all down? Nope, I don't think so. So we're talking a little bit about the ghosts and the paranormal there, but I think that there is some aspect of um, how there's other things happening there. I don't think there's enough research to really talk about yet. Again, I am a medium, but I also like the science part of it. So I think that there's more to know and understand about places like where the barn is built. And where it is built is in a town, a very large town, and everything around it is developed. There's houses, businesses, everything. But this particular area seems is just untouched, and it seems like nobody will ever build anything there. And I think that's by design of the universe. Like if something gets built there, it'll be very bad for whatever structure is there. That's why the barn is not great, because when you go in there, bad things happen.
I think the owners, like, I think they made them, like, buried there. I think they made it like a cemetery so you couldn't build on it. Like, that's like my reasoning.
Oh, that you know what? You're probably right. You're smart. Smart 18-year
I
old
don't
kid.
want it,
That actually makes a lot of sense. There's a registered cemetery there, so they wouldn't be able to build.
right?
Although we do have a high school in town that has a cemetery on the ground, so who knows?
Oh, yeah, I guess we do. I don't know.
Let's see. I've had an impression on my bed like someone was sitting there, but no one was there. When I was like 12, I had that happen. It scared the crap out of me. I was watching TV in my parents' room on the end of the bed, and I was just sitting there, and the whole bed sat like moved down next to me, and it like moved me, and I was like, "Holy shit, what was that?" So I went outside and sat on the steps until my parents got home. Yeah, even I was afraid, of course. It was hard for you to sleep for a long time after that, I bet. Um, so there comes a time in your life when you just accept this crazy stuff happens and go to sleep anyway. I've woke up many times with like just weird shit standing there and staring at me, and I'm like, not tonight. I'm sleeping now. Done. Go to bed.
I hide under my covers and pretend like they're not there.
Exactly. Um, we have IR Earl Hills 6 says, what's going on? We're talking about Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. Myself and this young lady in the box down here were on the show this evening. She's the star. I was the co-star. We were talking about the show at the beginning of this and just seeing how everybody liked the show. Tricia says, have you seen Aliens? Nope, I haven't. I want to, desperately. Because I think I'll grab one. I'm just going to grab an alien, right? Grab it by its little arms and be like, take me with you. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to have terrible nightmares about freaking aliens now. That's what's going to happen. Because ghosts don't scare me. But like if an alien showed up in my room, I'd probably be freaking terrified. I spoke to a firefighter once who told me about, he was like, you into ghosts? And I was like, uh-huh. He's like, about aliens. I was like, I believe in aliens. Tell me about it. And he's like, told me a whole experience he had about being abducted. And I was like, that's the most far out shit I've ever heard. He's like, you're not going to tell anybody, right? And I was like, I'm going to tell everybody, but I'm just not going to mention your name. And he was okay with that.
So funny.
Yeah, it was a really compelling story. One of these days, I gotta really talk about it. Somebody says I have. Mommy says I have alien dreams that are comedies. Third Rock from the Sun. That was a good one. Oh God, am I a Trekkie or a Star Wars nerd? If I had to go one way or the other, I'm more into Star Wars, but I like Star Trek because of the science stuff. But if I have to go anyway, I'm a Ghostbuster nerd. So, all right. It is about time for me to call it a night. I got to get going. A lot of stuff to do tomorrow. Live. Uh, maybe one of these days we'll go out to the barn and record a little bit. Um, we'll see if we can get some permission to go in there and do a little bit of recording and see what's out there. And these folks are obviously very interested. So I think if we did a little YouTube, people would be interested in that. What do you think?
That'd be so cool. Like it's definitely like heightened right now. I was literally up there earlier and I was like, there's something watching me.
Yep, that's what I think. So maybe one of these days in the next couple of weeks we'll go out there and check it out.
So
For everybody who's here, thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you haven't yet, follow little Blondie here. She's a sweetheart. She makes your typical teen TikToks, and she's also going to be in some more television and movies coming up. So she's a star on the rise, folks.
thank
Um,
you.
and if you haven't gone on and said to Discovery Plus yet, tell them that you want to see more of us, okay? Let them know. And tell them Eli Roth sent you. Lie. I'm telling you to lie. Tell them Eli Roth said to come tell you that we like Scott and Libby. All right.
Do it.
Okay, everybody. Have a great night. Liv, thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I will repost this on my YouTube. It'll be up there tomorrow, so you'll be able
Thanks for
to
having
rewatch it. Okay.
me.
Thank you. It was nice. It was nice seeing you again. I'll
Yeah,
see
I'll
you
see you
guys soon.
too.
Have a great night. Stay safe, and thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.